Hattie and I am back with another speed build. So today I'm going to be doing a Tudor home, which is a collaboration with w.SpringSims. He's going to be doing a pub next to my Tudor home, and that's going to be on his channel. So I'm going to leave that in the links below so you can go and see what the two buildings look like when they're together. It should be really cool to look at. But anyway, so for this build I wanted to go for a black and white traditional Tudor build because I was thinking to myself about the kind of Tudor house that you would see next to a Tudor pub, something like that. And the black and white theme really did strike me because I mean all the pubs that I've been to in the Tudor style have really been black and white now that I think about it. So I guess it was a good idea. I was trying my best to make sure that I wasn't taking up too much space as well. But building right at the side there really irritated me. So what I did was I moved the whole building to the center, and I found it a lot easier to build there. I just thought that it was just a lot easier rather than just building at the side there. And I was also building in Windenburg, which isn't the best place for me to build. I actually moved it to Willow Creek again. I did the same thing as I did a couple of videos ago because it just wasn't working out. The lighting was really bad here, so I did end up moving it, but you'll see that in a little bit. But at this point, what I was doing is I was trying to figure out if I would like a little castle bit at the side there. I thought that was a really nice feature, and in fact my old house, which I used to live in, had a castle bit not too dissimilar to that. It was where the spiral staircase was, and it was a really special part of the house. But I was always too scared to go down there because there were spiders absolutely everywhere. It was the most frightening thing ever. But I was thinking about it for this build, but I thought no, I want to make it look like a home rather than a crazy castle at the side of a pub. So you'll see that, how it turns out in a little bit, but I did actually end up moving it to the side, so you will hopefully see that as well. But at this point, what I was doing is I was putting in the pillars. I was deciding that I really liked the big black thick pillars for this build because they look very traditional, and I was really happy with how they turned out. I was also dragging out the property a bit, but what I was doing is I was dragging it out only on one side, so that meant that the other side would have to be dragged inwards. So I had some room, and I wanted to make it, of course, completely even, and I really wanted to focus on the fact that I didn't want it any bigger than half, so I was thinking a lot about that. What I was doing here is I was trying to expand this area because I was thinking about having a really amazing archway, and it would be like a walkway underneath, and you could see the Sims cross over maybe between the house and the pub. That's what I was really trying to do at that point, but what I did instead is I put one of the Tudor items that we got. It's like the overhang bit that you'll see below there to the right. I thought that that looked nice, so I left it in. What I was doing here is I was trying to make sure that the windows looked nice. I was trying to make the house a little bit of an odd shape as well. That was something that was really on my mind at this point. I was trying to make it a very strange layout. I wanted to make it different. And sometimes I like even layouts, but for this house I wanted it a little bit higgledy-piggledy. I wanted an uneven door, uneven windows, because I like that. It looks a little bit crooked by the end, which is actually one of my favourite things about this whole build. I think it looks really nice in that way. I was having a lot of fun at this point trying to put some windows round and things like that. We don't have a lot of black choice for windows in The Sims 4. In fact, the base game shutters that we have are only in dark brown, and I really wish that there was a black version, because if there was a black version I could have used them repeatedly and they would look so good on this build. But I had to be careful, so the only windows that I could use were the ones that we got with The Sims 4 Get Together, so I couldn't use any of the windows because if I did then they just wouldn't be black enough for me, so it wouldn't really have worked. What I did though is I was very careful and I didn't put any windows on the right hand side of this build, mainly because I want the two properties to completely join together, and I didn't want SpringSims to then have to take any windows out or do anything, because it just kind of makes it easier to make the house a really easy thing to attach to something. So what I was doing at this point is I was checking the gallery photo. It was looking absolutely shocking though. So I think that it is around this point that I decided to move the whole house to Willow Creek. I just think that it looks so much better in Willow Creek, and it just gives me such better lighting to actually look at the property and see what landscaping would look nice here, because it's not fantastic in Windenburg sometimes for lighting. It can take me quite a while to take a good picture there, and also for building I just think it's brighter and you can actually see what I'm doing here, so that is the main reason why I moved it. Then what I was doing here is I was thinking a lot about the landscaping. I wanted to go with red and white flowers because I think they look absolutely gorgeous, and I tried to mix a bit of pink in there as well because, believe it or not, for some reason, I don't know why, but I'm a little bit superstitious about that kind of stuff, and my mum always used to tell me never to buy anybody red and white flowers because it's unlucky or something. So that thought has kind of stuck with me throughout my life, and I was just thinking I can't just have it being red and white, so I did put some pink in the garden, which you will see in a little bit. What I was doing here is I was going around with the ivy. Of course, I didn't put any of this ivy on the other side because that would be a really strange thing to do, because I wanted it to, of course, join together with the pub. But what I was doing is I was just mixing my ivy styling. I just love doing this. It's my favorite thing to do for a build, and I just think that this build looks so pretty once this is done, and I really like it this way. I am going to be doing an ivy tutorial on my channel, I think in about a week, maybe a couple of weeks, I'm not sure, depending on how much time I have, because I am still on holiday. In fact, while you'll be watching this video, I'm still on holiday in England wedding planning. I am not back, I think I'm back on maybe the 20th, so I'm not sure. We will see. But anyway, so what I was doing is I was making the garden really green at this point. I just love the garden materials that we have. Materials? Are you kidding? Is that what I'm calling that? The actual spray paint that we got with the Sims 4 Outdoor game pack. I absolutely love it. In fact, it's my favorite thing from that game pack. Full stop. I just really like it, and I use it a lot in my builds. I think that it just makes the grass look so much better, so had a lot of fun putting that around. What I was thinking about as well is I was thinking about the amount that I really wanted to landscape this whole garden. I was really going a bit crazy with it, and I was thinking about really enlarging some plants, and it's really funny actually because some people do think my plants are probably too big for the gardens and stuff. Had a few comments saying my Sims are smaller than the plants outside, but you know, it happens. Sometimes it just happens. And in fact, when I was a really small child, my parents used to take me to this humongous restaurant, I think maybe once a month or something. It was actually where I was thinking about getting married, but I didn't choose it in the end because, I don't know, it just felt a bit weird because I went there as a child and, I don't know, had memories out already. But I used to explore the grounds, and some of the plants that used to be there were humongous, and these were just bushes. These were just normal everyday bushes that probably hadn't been tended for about a decade or something, and they were so big, just so wild, and it just really scared me almost, like, but I loved it. I mean, it was a beautiful garden. It was a stately home, I'm not sure, but it was turned into a hotel, and it was a restaurant as well, so that's why we went there. But yeah, it was really fun, and I was thinking a lot about the plants that were there, and strangely it was a black and white building as well, so brought back a lot of memories for that. In fact, I'm not sure if you would have seen it, but there's a black and white humongous mansion in the background of this house. So I don't know why I'm telling you now as I'm landscaping the pool, but if you would have noticed it before, maybe a bit earlier on in Windenburg, then you would have seen it, and I mean, it's a pretty big mansion, which looks a lot like the place which I used to visit, and that's what it's really styled of. So if you got a chance to briefly see that, then yes, that's what's to come up on my channel, so that should be pretty interesting. But this is when I started to move on to the interior. Yes, it is all on one video, which is really crazy for my videos because I don't usually put the interior on my videos all together. I usually do part 1s and part 2s, but if I'm building a really small house, then I will just put it all together, and it didn't actually take me that long to do. In fact, this whole build in total with the interior included probably took me about 2 hours, I'm guessing. So it's not actually that long, and it's quite easy to speed it up. So if you're wondering why the video is a little bit longer today, that's because the interior is included. So I was pretty happy about doing that. But anyway, so I was thinking about the interior, I was thinking about the colours that I'd want to go for it. I was really in two mindsets for this one. I thought about doing it all in black and white, but then I thought no, because it's just gonna look too black and white. And I was trying to think about my old house. I was trying to think about the colour schemes that we had there, because that was also black and white house. Like this, actually not too dissimilar to this, strangely, actually, now I'm thinking about it. But I was really thinking about that, and I was trying to think about the wallpaperings we had, the floorings we had. We also had a lot of wood on the walls and floors as well. So that was really my main source of inspiration whilst I was building this. I was thinking about my old house just because I have experienced a black and white Tudor home firsthand. But anyway, so I was filling up the hallway. I wanted a really open plan lounge, mainly because it's a little bit quirky and it reminded me of a restored property which has been remodeled, and it's been made to look a little bit more modern, but still keeping the traditional features. So I really like that idea. I like the fact that the TV was straight in front of the sofas and it's not facing the wall or anything, which is a little bit unusual for a television because of the wires and stuff. I know, I was considering that, but I just thought it was nice there, so I left it in. But this was a dining room here. The dining room, I went for quite a white room, mainly because I wanted to brighten the build up a bit, because everything was looking quite dark and quite gloomy, which of course would be how a home like this I would expect it to be anyway. So I was pretty happy with how dark and gloomy the house was, but I thought to brighten it up a little bit, I would do something different with the dining room. So that's what I decided to do. The kitchen in here was quite a big room. I really love square rooms because it means that I have a lot of space for stuff. I like the fact that it's so close to the dining room as well. So if your Sims do live here, it's gonna be amazing, the fact that they can just go so quickly to the dining room and sit down. And I really like that about the rooms, because sometimes my dining rooms can be a little bit too far away from the kitchens. I try to keep them as close as I can together, but especially in my bigger builds, it's quite difficult to do that. But in this house, I just find that it just fits perfectly. So I was really happy with how this room turned out. I was just putting some decorations on the walls there, so you'll see that. I was finding it very difficult to find those pans. I spent about a minute looking for them, but I was pretty happy with finding them in the end. I really wanted the study as a red room because I love putting red rooms in my Tudor builds, because I just think it looks really traditional, and I love the wallpapering that we have in the red colours. I just think it looks really elegant and different, so I put that in. This was a really small bathroom in here. I tried to keep it as simple as I could because I didn't want anything too fancy in here, especially as it's a really small house. I didn't want to spend so much time doing the bathrooms because the other rooms weren't actually that big. So I thought I wouldn't make the bathroom any bigger. I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it or anything because I wanted it to just be a basic room, just for, of course, the essentials, and that's what I put in there. So I put a shower instead of a bath, mainly because I think a shower is more practical and it's a little bit quicker than having a bath as well. So kind of worked out a little bit better there. But upstairs, I'd already got the overhang for this home. So I really loved the big black chandelier, which overlooks the whole hallway there. I think it's going to be really special if you take some screenshots and things. And especially on the screenshots at the end of the video, which you will see, you'll see how it turned out. So that should be pretty nice. But then what I was doing is I was repapering the walls, and I was also sticking some doors in. I was lighting up the areas because I already decided that I wanted the old lights. The bit that you could just see me play around with the doors there, that was because I was honestly trying to find the difference between those two main doors. I just couldn't find it. They look exactly the same. I wasn't sure why we got both of them because they're identical. But I was finishing off the hallway and I was putting in some of those ginormous bookcases. I didn't actually use a lot of bookcases in this build, which definitely surprised me because I usually always use them, mainly because in a build like this, I can't think what else to fill it up with, and bookcases are a definite for a house like this, for collectors or for people that would live here. I just think that they would definitely be book readers. But maybe I will do a no bookcase challenge at some point, and I'll do a whole build with 0 bookcases in, which should be pretty interesting because I always use bookcases. I don't know if I will, but I'm thinking about it. But this was the big bathroom up here, so I thought that having a bathroom a little bit larger than the one downstairs would definitely be nice. But if you wanted to, you could convert that into another bedroom, depending on what you want for this build. But this was the children's room over here. This was the baby's bedroom. I wanted to have one of these in because I don't often do baby rooms, and I just thought that it would be really nice to have that for this room. And I thought that having a bathroom here wouldn't be amazing, and I thought that a baby's bedroom would be more or less the only thing that would fit in that room. I mean, I could have had a storage closet, but then I'd had loads and loads of extra space, and I would have had to move the windows about, so I thought, no, it's best like that. But this is one of the main bedrooms. It's a really big room, so I had to think very carefully about what I was going to fill it up with. I thought about putting in one of those really nice wooden sofas. I think they're sort of based off what you'd find in a chapel or something like that, but I'm not really sure. They do look like that though, and it's really strange though because they seem to be really in at the moment as well. In fact, when I was furniture shopping in Switzerland, when I used to live in Switzerland, I found that they were really in, and the corner chapel seats that you'd often find were being recycled and redone, and they looked absolutely amazing. So I'm hoping to find one at some point, but I don't have any corners to put those corner seats in, so I'm hoping at some point I will move again and I will be able to buy one of those and have one of them in my house. But this was the hobby room, so I wanted a piano for this home because I didn't really think that a DJ stand or anything like that would really be suitable for this home, so I thought about putting some traditional things in, like a piano. I thought it looked really nice. I was thinking about a children's bedroom here. I thought that children's rooms were definitely something that I wanted for this build because I thought that somebody that might have a house and a pub might have a big family. I was just thinking about it. I thought that it would be really nice if the children were part of the pub and they hang about, and it would just be really lovely to have. So I like that idea. In fact, I think that I might even use this house. I mean, even use the house and the pub once it's finished. I think it will look really nice together. But that is the end of the build. So I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.